Think about the last time a friend lied to you.
Yeah.
Like, really put yourself back in that exact moment.
Yeah, that's not a fun memory.
Right. You probably remember exactly where you were, like how your stomach just sort of dropped, or that quick flush of anger you got.
Oh, absolutely. Because the betrayal is just such a clear event.
Exactly. You knew exactly who broke the trust, you knew what they did, and the whole mess was just, right out in the open.
Right.
But what if the last time you lied to yourself?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's completely silent. There's no dramatic argument, no door slamming.
Yeah.
You just quietly let yourself down.
Right. It's just a quiet alarm clock that you decide to snooze.
Exactly.
Or it's that pair of running shoes that just stays in the closet for like the third week in a row. Or maybe it's a project you swore you'd start right after dinner, but you end up just scrolling on your phone for 2 hours instead.
We've all been there.
Right. And in the moment, it doesn't really feel like a big deal. But over time, that invisible habit creates this really heavy, kind of suffocating feeling.
Yeah, it creates a profound, lingering sense of self-doubt that it just bleeds into everything you do.
And that is exactly what we're unpacking today. So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore some really fascinating psychology notes, concepts, and research, all focused on a deeply personal topic.
Learning to trust yourself again.
Exactly. Now, since you're using this deep dive to level up your English skills, we've designed this conversation specifically for you.
We definitely have.
We're keeping our pace comfortable, we're using accessible language, and we're going to naturally highlight some key English phrases along the way to, really help you articulate these complex internal feelings.
Yeah, because we really want to look at the why behind this vicious cycle. We're going to dig into the actual mechanics of why we keep setting ourselves up to fail. And, well, more importantly, how we can break that cycle using a completely different, much gentler approach. It's really about fundamentally changing how we communicate with our own brain.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because this is a feeling every single person knows entirely too well.
Oh, definitely.
Like every New Year, or honestly, just every Sunday night, we sit down and set these massive life-changing goals.
The Sunday night motivation is real.
It is. We tell ourselves, this week, I am going to the gym every single morning, or I'm going to study English grammar for 2 solid hours every night without fail.
Right, and you feel incredibly motivated in that exact moment.
You do. But then real life hits.
Yeah, real life always interrupts the fantasy. I mean, you have to work late, or your kids get sick, or maybe you just catch a cold.
Yeah.
Or your willpower is just completely depleted by like Wednesday afternoon because you had a really stressful meeting. You inevitably break the promise.
And what our source material points out, which I found just incredibly relatable, is that when this happens, our internal disciplinary committee immediately steps in.
Oh, yeah, the inner critic.
Right. We don't just say, oh, well, tomorrow's another day.
Right.
We actively punish ourselves.
We really do. We all have that harsh inner critic. And what's interesting from a psychological standpoint is, well, why that committee even exists.
Right. Why do we do that to ourselves?
Well, evolutionarily, our brains are wired to keep us safe by ensuring we fit into the social group. So if we mess up, the brain uses shame to correct our behavior so we don't, get kicked out of the tribe.
Wow, okay.
But when we turn that shame inward on our own personal goals, it completely backfires. When our plans get interrupted, even by completely valid things like a migraine or a delayed train.
But things we can't control.
Exactly. This disciplinary committee doesn't show us an ounce of grace, it just shames us. And the psychological concept for this specific phenomenon is called micro-self-betrayal.
Okay, let's look at that phrase, micro-self-betrayal. When you betray someone, you hurt them by not being loyal. So a self-betrayal is being disloyal to your own needs.
Exactly. A micro self-betrayal is a tiny, almost unnoticeable moment where you break your own trust.
Right.
It's the split second you choose the couch over the gym or the junk food over the healthy meal you prepped. Individually, these moments seem totally harmless.
Just a tiny lapse.
Right, but they accumulate. And when you repeatedly experience these micro self-betrayals, the aftermath on your nervous system is devastating. You literally train your brain to expect failure.
Oh, wow.
So the next time you face a new opportunity or you try to set a new goal, your brain's very first reaction is, forget it, I'll just give up anyway.
You literally assume failure before you even start the engine.
Yeah.
There's a brilliant analogy in our sources that I think captures the mechanics of this perfectly. Self-trust is like a piggy bank.
I love this analogy.
It's so good. Every time we make an empty promise to ourselves, meaning, a promise with no real substance, like saying, I'll never eat sugar again.
Yeah.
We are making a withdrawal from that piggy bank.
Right. You're taking trust out.
Exactly. And when the bank is completely empty, we are left with what the notes call chronic self-doubt, which just becomes the background color of our soul.
I really want to dig into that piggy bank metaphor a bit deeper because it's not just a cute image, It represents real biology.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Think of the coins in that piggy bank as literal data points of safety for your amygdala. That's the fear center of your brain.
Okay.
Every time you keep a promise, you drop a data point of safety into the bank, your brain says, okay, we are in control, we are safe.
Right.
But when you make an empty promise, you take that safety away. When the bank is empty, your nervous system's baseline state actually shifts to threat.
Wow.
That's what chronic self-doubt actually is. It's a literal physiological state of stress.
That makes so much sense. It's not just a bad mood, it's your body literally feeling unsafe.
Exactly.
And for you listening today, if you're trying to build your English vocabulary, that word chronic is crucial here.
It really is.
It doesn't just mean a bad afternoon.
Yeah.
Chronic means persistent, lingering, like a chronic ache that just doesn't go away.
Right.
Which brings us to a phrase you might use if you're trying to express this painful cycle honestly.
Yeah.
You might say, I'm struggling with chronic self-doubt.
That's a very vulnerable thing to admit. And usually the root cause of that chronic doubt is another phrase from our notes, I've broken too many promises to myself.
Right. So if the piggy bank is empty and making these huge, sweeping, empty promises is actively hurting our biology and keeping our nervous system in a state of threat,
Yeah.
why do we keep doing it? I mean, why do we wake up the very next Monday and set another impossible goal?
Well, what's fascinating here is that we fundamentally misunderstand how the human brain actually works.
How so?
We think our brains are inspired by grand, earth-shattering vows. We think if we just yell loud enough or, buy a new planner or post on social media, I am going to change my life tomorrow.
Which we all do.
Right. We think our brain will magically fall into line. We're relying on intensity. But the brain doesn't believe grand vows. The emotional core of the brain doesn't care about your new planner.
Really?
No. It only believes small, undeniable facts.
Okay, so the grand vow is basically just theater. It's a performance we put on for ourselves to feel better in the moment.
That's a perfect way to put it. It provides a quick hit of dopamine, like a false sense of achievement before you've actually done any work.
Wow, yeah.
But if we want to fix the chronic doubt, we have to make a major shift in our mindset. We have to stop focusing on the outcome, the glorious finish line of running a marathon or being totally fluent in a language.
Right.
And we have to start focusing entirely on the relationship, specifically the relationship we have with ourselves. The sources actually suggest a radical approach here. You need to treat your brain like a wounded, insecure child.
A wounded child. That's a very different image than a tough, disciplined athlete.
It is. But think about the neuroscience. The part of your brain setting the big goal is the prefrontal cortex, the logical adult part.
Okay.
But the part of your brain that actually dictates your habits and motivation is the limbic system, the emotional core. That limbic system is the wounded child.
Oh, I see.
If you're trying to build trust with a child who has been let down 100 times, you don't make wild promises like, I'm going to buy you a castle. They won't believe you.
Right, they've heard it all before.
Exactly. Instead, you provide gentle, consistent proof of safety. You show up on time, you make them a meal, you do tiny, quiet things that prove you are reliable. High-pressure demands only make that child panic and freeze.
Okay, I hear you, and the psychology makes complete sense. But I had to push back on this a little bit from a practical standpoint.
Sure, go for it.
Let's look at the actual examples from the sources. If my ultimate long-term goal is to run a marathon, you're saying I should just promise myself to put on my running shoes and stand at the front door for 30 seconds.
Yes.
I just struggle to see how that isn't just tricking myself. I mean, it feels like a participation trophy. How does standing at a door build physical endurance?
Well, it doesn't...
Or let's say I really want to study English for 2 hours, and I know I need to ban my phone so I can focus. You're saying just putting the phone away for 5 minutes is better. How do you ever achieve anything great by doing something that only takes 5 minutes?
It's a totally valid question, and it's where the vast majority of people get stuck, honestly, because society tells us we have to hustle and grind.
Exactly.
But let's look at the alternative. Those grand illusions like the strict 2-hour phone ban, they aren't actually goals, they are traps.
Traps.
Yeah, when you set the bar so impossibly high, you ensure that perfect execution becomes the only standard for success.
It's an all-or-nothing game. If I study for an hour and 45 minutes, I still technically failed the 2-hour goal.
Precisely. And when you inevitably fail, because, let's be real, maintaining a 2-hour phone ban is incredibly difficult for a modern brain hooked on notifications.
Oh, absolutely.
What happens? The disciplinary committee comes out, you label yourself as hopeless, lazy, or weak-willed, you drain the piggy bank even more. The neural pathway associated with failure gets thicker and stronger.
Oh, man. So the grand goal actually works against you.
Yes, but the micro-contract, putting the phone away for just 5 minutes or just standing at the door in your running shoes, does something critical. It allows you to succeed. It guarantees a win. And when you succeed, your brain releases a tiny bit of dopamine. Now, dopamine isn't just the pleasure chemical, it's actually the learning chemical. It physically rewires the brain to repeat the behavior.
Wow.
You get to gently say to your emotional brain, "It's okay, we did what we said we would do, we are safe, we will try a slightly bigger step tomorrow." You are gathering concrete evidence that you are someone who keeps their word.
I see. So the goal at this stage isn't actually to master English grammar or to run the 26 miles.
No, not yet.
The goal is entirely internal. The goal is just to fix the broken trust. The goal is to drop a coin into the piggy bank to calm the nervous system down.
Exactly. The physical endurance for the marathon comes later. Right now, you are building psychological endurance. The outcome does not matter right now. The relationship matters.
The notes use a really powerful phrase to describe this shift, actually. Consistency over intensity.
Yes, that's the key.
And if you are using this deep dive to build your English vocabulary, intensity is doing something with extreme force. It's that massive, aggressive 3-hour workout that leaves you too sore to move for a week.
Right.
Whereas consistency means doing something the same way over time. It's small, regular, and dependable.
Because doing a tiny, gentle thing every single day will always overpower doing one massive, aggressive thing once a month. The brain learns through repetition, not intensity.
The text also pairs this with the phrase, rebuild trust one small step at a time. And this really requires what we call self-compassion.
Oh, absolutely.
Self-compassion is simply being kind and understanding to yourself when you fail. Rather than letting that disciplinary committee just scream at you, it's treating yourself the way you would treat a good friend who is having a hard time.
And that compassion is really the foundation of what our sources call a micro-promise. A promise so microscopic, so undeniably easy, that the wounded child inside your brain doesn't feel threatened by it at all.
Okay, so I think we really understand this mindset shift now, moving from intensity to consistency, stopping the grand illusions, and treating the emotional brain like a wounded child that needs safety.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
That was a great psychological framework, but let's get highly practical.
Okay, let's do it.
How can you, the listener, actually start making these deposits into your piggy bank tonight? Like, what is the actual mechanism of action?
Well, let's walk through it. Our sources outline a really beautiful, actionable ritual that you can execute right before bed. It's a late-night repair ritual designed to rebuild what the notes call self-alignment.
Okay.
And there are 3 specific steps to creating a micro-contract tonight.
So if I'm lying in bed tonight, frustrated that I wasted the whole day, where do I even start? Because I can't just vow to have a perfect day tomorrow.
No, you definitely don't do that. You start with step 1, shrink the promise by 90%.
Shrink it by 90%.
Right. You take a task you have been delaying or a habit you want to build tomorrow, and you make it so incredibly easy that your brain cannot refuse it. You dehydrate it.
Dehydrated, I like that.
Yeah, you shrink it down to its absolute smallest component, because by making it tiny, you completely bypass the amygdala's threat response.
The notes give a great example here. Instead of saying, I'm going to wake up and do a brutal 45-minute workout tomorrow morning, you shrink it by 90%.
Right.
You change it to, when I wake up, I will take exactly 1 deep breath and stretch my arms above my head. That's it. It takes literally 5 seconds.
Right. You lower the barrier to entry so much that the anxiety just evaporates. The wounded child says, oh, stretch my arms, I can do that. That isn't scary.
That's amazing.
Then we move to step 2. Make a 1-minute deposit. This is where you transition from planning for tomorrow to taking immediate action tonight. You make a tiny promise right now, immediately before you go to sleep.
Give me an example of an immediate deposit.
Okay, you might promise yourself, I am going to go to the kitchen and drink half a glass of warm water right now.
Just half a glass.
Just half. And then, crucially, you get out of bed and you actually go do it. You drink the water, and in your mind, you ring a little bell. You say to your brain, see, I said I would do it, and I did it.
Ah.
This is an immediate concrete deposit of trust into the piggy bank. You are providing undeniable proof of your own reliability.
Which leads us to the final part of the ritual.
So,
Step 3. Acknowledge the kept word.
this one is hard for people.
It really is. The notes emphasize that when you are finally lying in bed trying to fall asleep, you must not inventory today's failures.
Right.
Do not lie in the dark, obsessing over the emails you didn't send or the diet you broke. Instead, you put a mental stamp of approval on the tiny thing you just accomplished.
Yes.
You focus all your attention on that half glass of water or the book you put on your nightstand. You give it positive recognition.
You have to let yourself feel genuinely proud of it, even if it feels silly because it was so small.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I want to understand the biology of this third step.
Okay.
When we do that, when we force ourselves to give that mental stamp of approval instead of ruminating on our failures, what are we actually doing on a neurological level? What are we signaling to our nervous system?
You are sending a direct, powerful signal of safety to your entire body. Yes. When you ruminate on failures, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Your body tenses up, preparing for an attack. But by acknowledging a kept promise, no matter how small, you trigger that dopamine release we talked about earlier.
Oh, the learning chemical.
Exactly. But more importantly, you prove to your nervous system that you are reliable. When the nervous system feels that the person in charge of you is reliable, it starts to downregulate.
It turns down the alarm.
It literally turns off the fight or flight response. Your heart rate slows down. You sleep deeper and better because your body finally feels safe with you at the wheel.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Just shifting the focus to a tiny kept promise
Yeah.
chemically changes how you sleep.
It really does.
Okay, I want to take a moment to really let that settle. I want to invite you, the listener, to set a mood for a second. Imagine you are settling into bed tonight. The room is dark. Maybe you can imagine some low, calming piano music playing, or maybe some relaxing acoustic guitar in the background.
Rain is gently hitting the window.
Yeah. In that safe, quiet space, you can say this final healing affirmation to yourself. I'll speak it slowly, so you can really hear the English rhythm and absorb the meaning.
Go ahead.
I am repairing the relationship with myself. I don't need giant leaps to be worthy of my own trust. My tiny steps tonight are enough.
My tiny steps tonight are enough. It completely removes the weight of the world from your shoulders, doesn't it?
It changes everything. It reframes the whole concept of self-improvement.
Rare.
Let's look at the final concepts hidden in this late-night ritual. First, we have the micro-contract.
Right.
We talked about micro-promises. A micro-contract is an agreement you make with yourself that is so small, so dehydrated, that it is unbreakable.
And when you fulfill that contract, you make a deposit. You are accumulating safety and trust in that internal bank.
By making these tiny daily deposits, you achieve a state of self-alignment.
That's a great word.
It is. Alignment means things are positioned correctly. So self-alignment is when your inner words and your outer actions match perfectly. You don't just talk, you do exactly what you say, even if it's just drinking water.
And when your words and actions match over time, you become reliable. You can be trusted. Your nervous system stops viewing you as a threat.
So what does this all mean? Let's take a step back and look at the journey we've just taken through these notes. We started by looking at how the invisible act of lying to ourselves creates a heavy burden.
Yes, we did.
We saw how empty promises, those massive panic-induced New Year's resolutions, actually bankrupt our self-trust piggy bank, leaving us in a biological state of chronic self-doubt.
Right, and we learned why treating our emotional brains like an insecure, wounded child is necessary. We saw the neuroscience of why using consistency and self-compassion works so much better than aggressive, intense goal setting.
We realized that the grand vows are just theater that eventually triggers the harsh disciplinary committee. And finally, we walked through a deeply practical 3-step micro-contract ritual that you can use tonight. Shrink the promise by 90% to bypass fear, make a 1-minute deposit to take immediate action, and acknowledge your kept word to signal safety to your nervous system.
It is a gentle, foolproof system to rebuild the foundation of who you are.
And I want to take a specific moment to acknowledge you, the listener.
Yes.
Because right now, simply by choosing to listen to this deep dive in English, by challenging your brain to follow along, process new concepts, and taking this time out of your busy day for some self-reflection, well, that action right there was a deposit into your piggy bank.
It absolutely was.
You didn't just plan to improve your English or your mindset, you actually showed up and did it. You kept a promise to yourself today.
You certainly did, and that is worth putting a mental stamp of approval on tonight.
Definitely.
But before we wrap up, I want to offer a final thought based on the research we've explored.
Oh, I love these. What is it?
Well, if we connect this internal dynamic to the bigger picture, it raises a really fascinating question.
Okay. We have established that our own brains act like insecure children.
Yeah.
Right? They require tiny, undeniable proofs of trust and safety rather than grand, sweeping vows.
Right. The brain ignores the big talk.
So how might this change the way we rebuild trust with other people in our lives?
Oh, wow.
Think about the last time you really let a friend, a coworker, or a partner down. Did you immediately offer a massive apology and make a grand promise that you would never, ever do it again and that you would completely change who you are?
We all do that when we feel guilty.
Right. But are our big emotional apologies to other people actually just empty promises that cause chronic doubt in our relationships?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe the people we love don't believe our grand illusions any more than our own brains do. Maybe they don't need our giant leaks. Maybe they just need to see our tiny, reliable steps.
Wow. That completely flips how we handle apologies and conflict. Grand promises are empty theater, whether they are to ourselves or to our partners. Only micro contracts are real.
That is definitely something to think about the next time you find yourself making a huge vow to someone you love. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you feel a little more equipped to handle that interdisciplinary committee and build a better relationship with yourself.
And remember, be gentle with your wounded child.
Yes, your tiny steps tonight are enough.